Yo, how's it going, guys? I haven't had much time to play rank this season, so I need a deck to grind up as fast as possible, and that's why I chose Snake Eyes. As you guys can see, a 13-game win streak. I haven't lost a single game in Diamond so far. All these games, just W's. So I got a bunch of replays for you guys here. Here's a deck list I went with. Pretty standard stuff. Uh, I mean, this deck is the reason Oak is getting banned. The Golem is getting limited to one. And honestly, I don't think it's really going to stop the deck that much. The Oak is great for recovery and stuff, but it's still so strong. There's so many cool interactions, great ways to play around hand traps. So I have a bunch of games to show you guys there. And I have one replay where I misplayed, and I think it's a good learning moment because there's really no reason I went for the line I did over the safer one. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see me play another deck as well, be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Again, we lose the coin flip here, and I'm going to fire off the Fuelos in standby phase because Lord knows why. I have no clue. We get super punished for it. It's Dinomorphia. They have the trap. They have two more traps. Place your bets in the comments below if you think I win this game here. Now, we are going to fire off Maxine the draw phase because the Dinomorphia traps are main phase only effect. So this is during either main phase, and this one is during your opponent's main phase. So they can't chain them here, which means I'm guaranteeing to get at least 2 draws, which might give me a chance to play through X term. But honestly, it's kind of iffy here, right? So we're gonna lead with the Sengenjin anyways. I'm going to go for a Doom Dragon line regardless, to try to push something back if possible. And if I can't push anything back, I'm going to hope that they let me use SP to at least banish the guy. They probably get another Rex term off of this, which is kind of unfortunate. But I might be able to finagle my way through here. So we have the Wedge Temple. We're gonna put down the Millennium card that we just drew into because it does nothing for us anymore. And now we're gonna go into SP. And now we get to clear the Rex term here, is what I would say if we didn't get hit by the Iron Thunder counter trap. Fortunately for me, I did not place anything else in that column or I would have cried. But now we're gonna go for the Engraver. Remember, this is only cards that I control can't activate if they have 1,000 or more attack. So what's very important here is usually I always pass Prio on the summon of Requiem, but here I'm going to keep my toggle on so they do not get an opportunity to prevent Requiem's activation because I really need this to resolve. Obviously, this is not going to do anything. Get the summon here, and they're going to pay life points a bit too late here. Unfortunately for them, I do get to resolve my Ash, which is going to give me another extra body on the field as well. And now I have enough Fiends here to actually make the Lacrima. Now, I was thinking, you have to be careful because this trap, when your opponent activates a card or effect while your life points to 2,000 or less, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no effect damage from your opponent's card effects this turn. And I can't swing because Rex term can reduce my attack down to his life points, which will be 250. So access code would have been a cool way to prevent them from chaining the trap. Here, I'm assuming they want to chain the trap to Lacrima's effect, right? So the way to actually play around this is I'm going to crash the Lacrima. And now in the damage step, where this is not a legal activation because it does not negate activations or anything. This is just a quick effect. You can't use those in the damage step, but I can use the trigger effect of Lacrima in the damage step, and that's actually going to burn them through the double Rex turn board here. All right, I think this game really showcases just how broken this deck is. My opponent played it really well. They toggled correctly. They got kind of lucky. They drew pretty well. But this deck is just too bonkers. So we're going to go ahead and lead with some Millennium stuff here. I'm going to make Doom Dragon for Zombie Vampire. See if I can maybe hit something good. And then I'll pause it on the mills here. So I guess it summons. All right, whatever. So I had the choice between Lacrima for Fiendsmith Engine, which I'm accessing anyways, or Dive Star to get into my Snake Eye engine, which I am also kind of accessing, I guess. But I think this just threatens it more because you get Fiendsmith off of everything anyways. In their graveyard, I can see that they're playing Resonators with at least some Bestials. So I might want to respect those, but I haven't been getting any triggers because my opponent was playing this very well. And then there's the Bone Archfiend, which I have absolutely refused to read. If it's in his graveyard, he can send another card from the field to the graveyard to special summon it. So that's a surprise tool that will help him later, unfortunately. So we're just going to do a bunch of like comboing stuff here, yada, 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 all the shenanigans, going to run into this stuff. And I think I got like one toggle maybe in between where he was kind of indecisive when they just toggle back off. I'm thinking, okay, weird. They're not bestialing anything here. And here is where I go for, I don't know, is it even a greedy line? I was thinking maybe they had like an Imperm or something or whatever, right? Maybe it was a bestial, they just refused to use it. So I could have definitely just summoned Poplar first instead of sending the equip. That way Desiree would have been live, because I get super punished here where I try to equip, they're going to bestial it, and I have to Apo this or my Desiree has no effect. And then they just chin an Imperm, which turns off Apo for good. So I got super cooked here. My Desiree has no more effect. It can't get another effect either to negate anything. Since Apo was negated, its original attack just gets reset to 0. It doesn't go back up. It's not like with attack modifiers and stuff. So that's super awkward. I've already spent my normal summon as well. And this does not really look salvageable. So it is, because Oak can grab Flamberge. Now, I don't want the Jewess Worm to send any of my stuff away, so I'm going to push it into the back row. This is a really bad idea, because if it's sent from the field to the graveyard through the Bone Archfiend, I get cooked. Sue me for not reading, I guess, right? This is going to let us go into the Promethean Princess now, because none of these cards do anything anyways. Bring back the Flamberge, and I'm going to go into the Sunlight Wolf here and make a Masquerena under here, so I can actually add back my Ash Blossom that I milled off of my zombie vampire here. So that was pretty nice. This means optimally I have IP for SP using Desiree, which gives me 2 disruptions through SP, 1 disruption through the Desiree getting sent. Then I have Promethean popping the Sunlight Wolf to get me another 4th disruption, plus the Ash is 5 disruptions of Public Knowledge, at least, into 3 cards. And then I also have 2 more hand traps that are kind of conflicting, but should be fine. So here I get really sad when they send the Jewess Worm, but that's all right. They have another Imperm here, which is crazy. They just top decked another one. So I'm kind of forced to use the IP here. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm using the SP here. And they're going to use Jewess Worm to remove my fire. So first of all, I'm just going to activate the Sunlight Wolf, right? Why wouldn't I? Now I'm going to send his monster away, because I don't want him using the Bone Archfiend on the field, because that just lets him foolish a guy for free, I guess. There's no real cost. And I'm going to use SP to clear another Resonator from his graveyard, because I don't want him getting those back. And there's really nothing else in the graveyard that does anything, right? And unfortunately for them, they do clear this fire, but I have the Poplar here in scale, and the Divine Temple on his summon here is going to let me summon that out. So Promethean is actually still live here, which is pretty big, honestly. We're going to put back the Doom Dragon. And now we have the Ash, which you knew about, on the Soul Resonator. And they're still going to have another disruption, which is kind of crazy. Oh yeah, we max seed, right? Yeah, but we get the Promethean, we clear all of his stuff. He's under max C. And yeah, he's kind of cooked here. All right, we're going to be going second. Yes, we do have the max C, but that is also an advantage of playing a deck like this. And Centur-Ion is actually pretty good into max C even. So we're going to chain it to their draw here. We know they're on Bestials as well now, because they pitched a Jewess Worm. So we only get 1 draw here. And what their field does is Etude of the Branded. If you control a Bestial, it banishes all monsters that will be sent to your opponent's graveyard as like tributes for, or like material for like any other summons, right? So that's kind of an issue against Fiendsmith. Plus it gives them an additional synchro summon as long as it uses a dragon. But this thing is a dragon, and the Bestials are also dragons. And then of course he has the stand up for another synchro. So my opponent can actually make 2 synchros here. If his Bestial is another Jewess form, they also get Ascend, and they also have the Floodgate as long as the Bestial is on the field. So this still seems manageable. We're going to lead with this thing, and then they're going to Droll us. So now it looks a lot less manageable. So we did resolve Maxi, but this is much more interesting. I do go Battle Phase here because their only tuner was the one on field, and if I beat over it, they can no longer Synchro Summon into anything except for, I think they can make Chaos Angel, right? Yeah, they should be able to make Chaos Angel still, but that's essentially it. So instead, they're going to go ahead and make an Auxila here. I guess they don't want to make Legacia. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a big difference. It's because of more protection. I think they're assuming they'll just live under Droll. So we're going to go for just all of our Fiendsmith stuff here. And this is where we get hit by the Bestial, which we were expecting. Magma actually does still get to add stuff under Droll because it can add from the graveyard as well. And that's where they have another Bestial. I was just say here from deck or graveyard. That's actually pretty good to know. So we're going to make the Doom Dragon, push back the Bestial. So the Etude is turned off and they can't Synchro again. So we've turned off the Floodgate and the additional Synchro effect. Now we can just go for all of our normal stuff here. And this has protection from something, I think somewhere, I don't know. We're just going to get rid of it. Clear the entire field. And now we can swing for game with a bunch of damage. Playing completely under Droll into what was like 5 disruptions or so. Here we're going to be going second as well. This time they just pass. Not really the best board, but we do get max seed, so we're going to Ash that right off the bat. Shouldn't be an issue for us. And we're going to go ahead and just lead with our Lurie. Hand really isn't the best, but we have, I guess, a hand trap. We can beat another hand trap that's not exactly this Bestial right here. So very mediocre, but should be enough to survive here. And they're going to use Gold Sark. Now, at this point, we're going to see them banish the Tragedy. And normally, you would hold the Ash Blossom for the Branded Fusion. However, since they could not play last turn, that means that this was their draw for turn, or they would have activated it last turn, right? Makes sense. So this is the only way they're getting playable. Now, I don't want them getting the Branded Fusion into rotation, because they're a lot more likely to just keep being able to recycle it. For example, the Serenade here, it goes to the graveyard, gets a Retribution. So even if I negate the Branded Fusion, I have to contend with it next turn, and my hand really isn't that good, right? So I'm going to go ahead and Ash the Tragedy here. They're going to... This is a misplay. It's 100% a misplay. They're Serenading the Lacrima. Or the Link? Who'd they even target? It doesn't matter. You're not allowed to hit either of these guys because you just chain the Lacrima, and that will remove both of them from the graveyard. That was definitely a misplay. They should have hit Lurie. They have nothing in their own graveyard. It should have been Lurie. I can't get rid of the Lurie here. I can only summon out the Fiendsmith Link monsters by shuffling this into the deck. So this loses on the body, which means since they don't have another normal summon, they also can't make Verte. And I get follow-up. And now I kind of win the game. You're going to preemptively do this in the draw phase. But unfortunately, the benefit of playing only good cards is you draw only good cards. So we just get the Diabell Star here. Summon out all this stuff. His 2 monsters really don't matter at all. And we just get to go full combo. We still have our normal Summon Oak as an extender in case anything goes wrong. But it's really not going to matter. Nothing that they have here is going to offer any form of disruption. And we're just going to set up our board here. Start pushing back his guys. And he's going to scoop. once again, we are going second here. And it's going to be Spright. So here I'm going to Fuelos right now because I am assuming that they're going to summon another dude from hand. That is then going to turn on the red that they summoned early. And then if they have like any more extenders or whatever, I can't actually Fuelos if they don't want me to, because they can just like negate it and then keep summoning from the extra deck, right? So I have to use it early here at the risk of them not summoning from the extra deck at all, which turns out that's exactly what they do. So we know they have starter because they search for it. We don't know if that's the set though. It could be the set one or one of the cards in hand, and the other one is Pixies, which means I can't just swing and beat over his guys. So I have to deal with both the monster and the spell trap negate. Based on my current Spright knowledge, you would play, I think, 2 red and 1 carrot. So if I somehow out the red without it like negating, they can probably just starter for another one, right? So we're gonna go ahead and lead with the Millennium stuff as per usual, because this threatens a whole bunch. So they're kind of forced to interact with at least some point of this. And they're going to decide to negate the Golem in hand using their monster negate. And unfortunately for them, we have Wedgie Temple, so it really just doesn't matter at all. And it was a terrible negate by them, very unlucky. So we're going to go ahead and use this to push back the spell negate. Now, I feel pretty confident that they don't have another way of spell negating, right? So I'm just going to go combo here, and they have Dominus Impulse as their last card. So now we know that the set is starter and the card in hand is Pixies. All we need to do is hope that they're not actually running another carrot and starter in time, and find a way to out all of their monsters without getting into the damage step is when this dude triggers Pixies here during damage calculation. So we can't actually call by the Pixies. So this is the only thing we can call by because we have full knowledge of every card that is in their rotation right now. And it just keeps them off a follow-up in case I fumble the bag because I'm afraid of the timer or something. I don't know. Something like that, right? So we're just going to go ahead, set up a bunch of guys here. And then we're going to Snash for the Poplar. That's going to grab us the field spell here. And my plan is when I swing with the Snake Eyes Diabell Star, it will be able to push back a guy here as well. And that's how we're going to out all the monsters, and then we can swing for game. So this hand goes crazy if we don't get disrupted, but we still have some chances of playing through disruptions. We only run 1 tract in this list, so we can't actually use Engraver here, but I want to use the tract first anyways, because this actually lets me get out both Fiendsmith and board pieces, which is pretty nifty. You just need to open any starter plus any Light Fiend, essentially. So we're gonna go ahead and get the free send to go for the Snash here, do a bunch of like Snake Eye stuff, yada yada yada. You guys know the drill. And then we're gonna use the tract in Graveyard to fuse off the Light Fiend on field and the extra Light Fiend we had in hand. And that's gonna let us make the Lacrima into the Caesar. And then we can continue on with our Snake Eyes plays here. And eventually we're going to go into our Moon, and that's going to get us into the Requiem. So we summon out all these bodies. Oh, we even just have the Engraver left over, which is crazy. Otherwise, you'd have to make the Moon. But since we had Engraver left over, we can just do that. Then we got the Desiree, go for the Promethean, equip to the Desiree, bring back the Flamberge, and now this card says you cannot special summon except fire monsters, but the Desiree can actually just negate that part because for some reason on this card it's an effect and not a restriction. Like you can't negate the Zephyr scale locks. I don't know, I'm so mad about this, but hey, it works. So because we had an extra Engraver and not just an extra Lurie or something laying around, we don't actually need to go into Moon, so that gives us an additional body. So Apple also has 1 negate more here. So this looks pretty disgusting. We have 1 negate, 2 negate, 3 disruption, 4 disruption, 5 disruption, 8 disruptions here, Promethean for 9, and then 2 hand traps of 11 disruptions. Yeah, and now we're going to get cooked. So they're going to go battle phase, evenly matched. That's what the Desiree is for, right? This is exactly the whole point of their, and they have droplets. Yeah, so now we're super cooked. Now, I am thinking, do we keep the Apo because that gives me 3 negates. I have 2 more hand traps. That should be pretty good. Or am I thinking surely these 2 hand traps will be good enough? I will keep the Flamberge because that will give me follow-up, and it will still have the Promethean as another disruption. So Lacrima is just going to burn here because, like, why not, right? And they have the Lila. So of course I'm going to Ash this because they need to have like an extender to keep playing here, which of course they have, because why wouldn't they, right? Haha. So Promethean Prince is just going to take care of that. It's fine. We get to bring back our guys here and have all these dudes on the field, grab another Oak for next turn, and they just have another extender, which is kind of frankly ridiculous, to be honest. So they pitch a second Droplets. Now we know all cards that they have. So if this Ogre lands, we are super fine here. Now I could Ogre this. I could have Ogred that. Pretty sure that does absolutely nothing for them. Like it just ends their turn. Like they can't do anything afterwards. Yeah, I just want them to spend the like all their effects and stuff. Yeah. So this brings back this person who has what, like a draw next turn. Dude, it doesn't matter. I have all my guys. Yeah. So through evenly Droplets, a starter, and 2 extenders, our board was still strong enough, which is quite frankly not very fair. Unfortunately for us, we have lost the coin flip against Ash Blossom, but fortunately for us, we drew the Ash Blossom. So our opponent's activating again here, and I'm thinking if I Ash this and they have any play, I'm cooked. If they have talents, I lose either way. So I'm pretty much just banking on them not having thrust and 60 cards. That's essentially like the main punish for this, right? And they draw 2, discard 1. I guess I'm just lucky that, yeah, whatever. So I get to keep the Ash Blossom. And now we just get to pop off. They also have an Ash Blossom, but now we get to resolve the Engraver. This way you always lead the Millennium stuff. Now we get Drolled, which is kind of unfortunate, but we don't need the Ash Blossom at this point because they can't use Maxi or anything because they're under Droll. So we actually just get to summon out a bunch of big bodies, push this guy back, and we could just swing for game. This is the game where I misplay, like in hindsight, obviously, right? So I'm going to use Wanted and Draw Phase to play around Droll, because my hand has issues with Droll. This does let them know I have Diabellstar though. So of course Sangage is going to eat the Ogre, that's the target, right? And now Lacrima comes out and I'm sniffing out an Imperm here, right? Like they have a response on the summon of it. They don't have one there. And I'm going to bring this back here. And my plan is I want to make the Desi right here. And that's going to give me targeting protection. Like I'm just hoping it's not Valor, right? So they do have an Imperm for this, of course. And here's where I misplay. I get too greedy here. I get complacent. I should have played around another hand trap. They're on 3 cards, right? If they hand trap me and I can keep playing, I will have more disruptions than they have cards and I will win. So there is no reason for me to go for the greedy play of putting the Snake Eyes Diabellstar here and sending the field spell with Diabellstar. What I should have done here is I should have used the field spell to put down another copy of Oak, and then I summon Diabellstar by sending that Oak. That way, if they Imperm the Diabellstar, I can still make Promethean Princess, and then bring back the Oak, and then just send the Promethean, whatever, get Snash, grab Poplar, to do some stuff. It'll be great, right? Have a field day. However, I went for the greedy line here. I'm going to get Imperm. Oh yeah, and worst case, if they don't have the Imperm, oh no, I'm going to summon the other Oak for my hand, right? It's like, great. I guess I kind of lose like a card or whatever for pretty much guaranteeing the win through what was another hand trap. So now I'm on SP pass. Fortunately for me, they didn't draw enough engine or whatever. and they are not playing the Necroquip here, which is really interesting, honestly. Like, I don't know if I would have SP'd any part of this line anyways, because it's just too risky. If they have any normal summon, they still get to go into the sequence. So they're going to go Typhon and set 2, which is crazy. Now, they seem to be some sort of hand trappy deck. So I'm assuming they have a Called By and possibly an Imperm. So they're going to use Called By here, which is like super obvious. This outs the Typhon. They kind of lose the game if this resolves, right? So when I activate this, their screen lit up for a second. So I'm assuming it's another Called By because you can't activate Imperm if I don't control monsters. So I'm going to kind of play around that. I'm assuming what they would want is for me to activate Snash, send some card, and then they just Call By Snash and my turn ends on the spot. I can't out the Typhon, I get cooked. So instead, we're going to bring out the Snake-Eye Diabellstar. We're going to grab this draw here, and then I could discard the draw for a Nightmare Phoenix here to force out the last card before I continue with my plays. I mean, they're probably still going to hit Snash or whatever, right? I get another draw, and it's Sengenjin. And I just activate it. I can just summon it, get more damage, get another body, and I'll just scale the add or whatever, discard whatever I add off of it, right? The other Millennium guy. And they just surrender here, so it doesn't matter. And in this replay, we are going to go for another hand trap punish. So in this hand, I'm thinking I'm going to get cooked by Imperm regardless. So what is the best way I have of playing through hand traps? So I'm thinking Poplar is not as big of a hand trap magnet as the Snash is. I'm assuming if I summon Poplar, they'd probably want to like Ash something else, like maybe Ash the OSS or whatever, right? Or maybe they want to keep Imperm for Snash. I would probably just have Imperm this, honestly, or Veilered it. But I'm getting a response here. So I thought it was Max C first, but it wasn't. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the OSS, and instead of sending the Poplar to have more bodies, I'm actually going to send the Link Karibo here. And the reason why is when I activate the Snash here, now they Imperm, why? I'm just going to chain Link Karibo. Like, you know, it's in the graveyard. Hit like a Link 2 or something. I don't know. What are you doing? Losing the game. And to extend, we're going to actually scale the Flambers here and send that to the graveyard using the Doom Dragon. And that'll let me revive my level 1 guys again. And now we just go into Fiendsmith combo off of this. Yada, yada, yada. You guys have all seen this before. And use this to go into the sequence. That's going to grab the Lacrima. The Desiree, and we want the Desiree to be able to negate the Promethean Princess here, because we're going to bring back the Flambirds, negate the Promethean, make a 2-mat Appaloosa here, and then we bring the IP into the scale. So we've completely outplayed their Imperm because they timed it poorly. The line we did is like specifically for punishing this kind of like we're just knowledge diffing them, right? Like, they don't know about this interaction. They don't know that we can do this play. They just get caught off guard by it, right? So we have 2 disrupts off of this, 3rd off of Promethean, 4, 5, and then 6 here, plus our hand trap. They're just not playing the game. And otherwise, if they had Impermed a correct target, like if they hit like the normal zone, we just can't play, right? But if they hit something later on, it would have also definitely diminished our board's value. But they didn't, so we win. Alrighty guys, for my last replay, I'm going to have to be playing into the full Fiends from the Snake Eyes board with no hand traps. That's why they got to set it up. So that's Apple for 2, Desiree for potentially 2, IP into SP for a bunch of follow-up. They have a Promethean in the graveyard, and they have 1 set card and 1 card in hand. So I'm, of course, going to lead off with the Millennium Engine here. They're going to negate this with Apple. So I'm just going to place it with the field spell. Bringing this out, bring this guy out as well. And here on the activation, yeah, you're going to see in just a second, maybe I should have used the cross out on it to just prevent it from even bringing out the IP, because I'm going to cross it out here anyways. I was thinking maybe I should call buy, but I feel like I need the call buy for the Promethean here. So I'm kind of risking it here. I'm kind of gambling on being able to out their board, bring it into a simplified game state, and then just beating them down with the Fiendsmith engine and like some extra bodies and stuff. That's kind of my game plan here. So maybe if I used this earlier, they would have spent their Desiree negate. Maybe they would have just let it go because they still have the temple to bring out the IP anyways. I don't know. But I think that might have helped here. So we're getting this, keeping off of bodies. Now there's no fires for the Promethean, which is actually pretty nice. I should probably have chained this the other way around because I'm checking the Apo negate with this anyways. They have an Imperm as their set card. Kind of crazy. Building up a bunch more bodies. Of course, Poplar's going to get negated here, but I still have the Engraver after I clear all of their stuff here and whatever, right? Now, there was a consideration here where I swing into this to clear all their fires again, but then the Linkuriboh gets a trigger, so it's not a good idea. And unfortunately, Linkuriboh basically another disruption, and by virtue of them getting to keep the Promethean alive. But that's what I have the call by for, so that's okay. And they have the Ash Blossom Royal Rare in hand, so now this is what my call by has to go towards. So essentially at this point, I gotta figure out a way to play through the Promethean. So the Promethean can't really stop me from getting to sequence here at any point. But I feel like they should have probably just hit Engraver anyways, because now Prom is just off because I get to send their fire. I'm gonna get to make the sequence here. And here, there's a few considerations to make. I could have made Desiree or I could have made Caesar. So what I have to think about is they have the Diabellstar here that they can summon out, and they have an OSS Engrave, and they have the Promethean when I like summon something, right? So what I'm thinking is I probably go Caesar plus SP, and I should banish this thing, and then I can just Caesar whatever they want to OSS here, right? I'm probably fine. They probably still have another Oak though. So, or I could also Desiree here. Plus SP, banish the OSS. Desiree gets to check this, and then I mean they have to top deck a play, which is not like super unlikely, but also not like super likely either, right? Oh, I could have also, maybe I was supposed to Desiree, and then I use these two guys to make Promethean, negate Promethean after reviving a guy, and then I make SP, but then I have no fires. Yeah, I do have a fire because I can scale Poplar with its effect, right? No, I can't. Huh, maybe I can Temple to steal a guy? I don't know. I was very low on time here, so that really sucked. And I saw the OSS when I had like 10 seconds left. I'm like, oh shoot, this is follow-up. But the issue is Diabellstar completely outs the Caesar. So that's really not good at all. My SP gets to check their SP, so that's that doesn't really matter. And I think it was a misplay here to take the Flambers. Definitely. This may or may not have like cost me the game. Like I think if he Diabellstars into Caesar to out it, I'm probably still okay. But the problem being, no, actually, I think they just have Flambers back there. They just scale this thing anyways, and then they make Doom Dragon regardless. Yeah, I think I'm just cooked off of this. I just was not allowed to let Diabellstar resolve here. Now I just get to take it as well, which really sucks to out this, and I lose the game here. I mean, I definitely win the game. Yeah, subscribe to watch me upload the rest of this game where I win. Ha 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 ha.